to record as well.
There it is. We're up.
Okay. So let me see if I can. I hit the ask permission to record button. Did anything pop up on your end?
No. I wonder if I'm the host, so it's not doing that.
Well, it should allow you to give me permission to record as well.
We are recording right now.
But I'm trying to record it on my computer as well.
It's not I don't see anything.
No? All right, that's fine. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it. So where'd we leave off? So yes. So
we're at part 2. It's I probably reintroduce Robert Kraft, our United Republic, and a CEO or founder and founder of the Republic Assembly, which is it will be a church as churches acted in 1776. So it will be a law church, educational institution that will hopefully ultimately bring forth common law lawyers and really bring the law back into the church the way it was supposed to be, the way our nation was founded. Luke Angstadt, author, and I'm going to let Luke.
Oh yeah, sure.
Luke do his own introduction. Go ahead.
I'm the author of the book, The Musings of De La Pew. It's a 20-year investigation into the nature of the universe, nature of reality, nature of God, human beings, the relationship between all of them. I also have a podcast called Knowledge Wars, and Bob and I decided that it would be a good idea to start recording these, doing some Zoom calls, because we do so many calls that aren't recorded over either the phone or in person or at other various locations. We thought that we might as well just turn this into like a podcast, if you will, or not if you will, but that's pretty much what it is. I mean, we have a lot of overlapping similarities, and our interests have really converged on the concept of common law. And I mean, Bob is much more well versed in this subject than I, but I said that, I bring more of a philosophical, theological background to it, and I think it makes for a very interesting conversation. And I think a lot of questions will arise through our discourse that a lot of other people are having right now. So that's why Bob and I both agree that it would be beneficial to not just us, but we think that there's an audience out there for it too. So, and right where we left off, we were discussing how a person becomes emancipated from the state, and we're about an hour into the first recording we did earlier today, and I said, Bob, now that we're an hour into it, I think this would so this question in the conversation that follows doesn't get lost after the hour into the conversation. I thought it would be a great place to begin a new video, and with that being that question being, how does a person emancipate themselves from the state? So that's pretty much where we left off, Bob.
Yeah. And that's really so to understand emancipation, we have to understand why emancipation would be required. Okay, so in the reason of common law, the concept is man is born ignorant. We're a clean slate. Okay, we are the product of our experiences and our education. We don't reach the age of reason till somewhere between 10 and 12 years old. All right. At that point in time, we have the ability to intellectually conceptualize a 2-step math problem, and we should be gaining the ability to deliberate. We should also be starting to understand good and evil. All right. So you have to know good and evil to play this game. And we're in a game. And I offend people when I say, like, people are dying. I'm like, people have been dying for thousands of years. Like everyone, nobody gets out of this thing alive. Yeah. So life has to be the game. And the game is to know good and evil. Mm-hmm. And the game is to, I think they said it best in the Declaration of Independence, where they said, at peace, we're friends. At war, we're enemies. Mm-hmm. I would like peace, but if you don't give me peace, we'll be at war. Mm-hmm. And that is not just a philosophical thought. That is an existence.
Yes.
In this realm.
Yes.
When you're playing in this game, you must know good and evil. You must be prepared with armor and swords to fight. Our laws are built on defense, and they're built on seeking justice. And we have to understand that's what we were given. And those are the teachings of Jesus Christ. I was like, he was graceful. Yeah, he was awesome. When he flipped over the tables in the temple and started chewing out the money changers inside the temple, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not that is direct. Jesus Christ didn't get murdered because he was nice to everyone. He got murdered because he told the truth, even when it was painful. He blew people's minds. He challenged their beliefs and their ignorance. And he chose people that have open minds to become more knowledgeable, to become apostles. And he let the herd do what the herd was going to do.
And he was an existential threat to the existing power structure, and they knew it, and that's why they killed him as soon as they could.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's what they do to intelligence.
They do, yes.
They murder intelligence because it threatens their entire ideology, their entire concept. Why do you think you got a freedom of speech? You got freedom of speech because Socrates was put to death for asking a bunch of questions and pissing people off. And Jesus was teaching people, you don't have to put up with this. It's you that's allowing this. You're giving consent to the monster. And the monster is the pretty Pharisees and Sadducees. The monster is the Roman Empire. The monster is the government itself. Satan is the government.
Yes.
But the government is a necessary evil. We are never, if there's more than one human being on the planet Earth, you're going to have a government because it's designed to bring chaos into order. We got a government that's bringing nothing but chaos. So Satan is loose, running free, because we got an out of control government filled with people who are stupid. That's it. I love it because in what was it? I think it's third John, Peter. I can't remember. I'm so bad. I told you, Revelation is my thing.
Okay, well, what is it?
Where he calls them dumbasses. He literally says they're dumbasses. I'm like, what? He called people dumbasses in the Bible? How come we don't talk about that? They're literally talking about wisdom. They're talking about education. The whole thing is about education. If you want to have a civil social society, it must be educated. If you want to have a kingdom with a bunch of peasants and despotism that eventually will get so pissed they'll overthrow you, keep them stupid. And that's the game we're playing. So let's get back to common law now that we've got these basic premises down. So at common law, you are stupid until you are 21. That's the rule. It's written down. It's in the Treatise of Blackstone. Okay. So if everyone is stupid until they're 21, then, and even if you were to go get apprentice, if you're going to be an apprentice, right? So you're 12 or 13, you're going to go be an apprentice. You're going to be a blacksmith apprentice. They had to actually go to the court and get a document that said that parentage was being transferred over to the teacher from the parent so that apprenticeship could happen. So they had the proper paperwork.
And when was this?
This was 1700.
Yeah.
You know, this is how it worked. Okay.
Well,
so
they
everything was done by law.
Common law. They still had common law.
That was common law.
Yeah.
I mean, that was exactly it. We don't do this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
We've turned everything over to the monster and we're like, just tell me what to do. And then the people are going, I don't want to be told what to do. Well, those are troublemakers. So
it brings us back to the question, how does a person go about becoming emancipating themselves from the state? How does a person do that?
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
I hit the wrong button. So the best I can tell right now, the only place that you could probably get emancipated is the United States Court of Federal Claims. All right. And you got to go in there and get emancipated. If they'll do, I don't even know if they'll do it until we get the assemblies back up and running, until we get some true ecclesiastical churches running that are educational facilities at law. Okay. we're really in a tough spot. And you know, my girlfriend is Christian, and I would call myself at this point, following the John Adams, who was my great grandfather, and Thomas Jefferson. I would say I'm closest to Platonic Christianity, right? Because I study the teachings of Plato and Aristotle and the great philosophers, and I follow the teachings of Jesus. So I'm Platonic Christianity, which is what they were. So in that, you know, we are going to have to build these systems back. We're going to have to create these. You know, there's a road there. The road's been grown over. It's long forgotten. And we really walked away from the church. And I don't mean the church as in the pulpit preaching church. And my girlfriend and I get into this debate where she wants to go to church. I'm like, you realize you're supposed to work 6 days a week, have 1 day off, Sunday fun day, or whatever day fun day. Every day is supposed to be church. Every day is interacting with the laws of nature. Every day is interacting with society. That is the church. This is the school. It's all a school. You're supposed to be learning all the time and growing. So, and we get into this argument. I said, well, the churches are failures. And she's like, no, they're not. And I'm like, yes, they are. They're failures. You want to know why they're failures? And she's like, why? And I said, show me a church in the United States that has produced a philosopher and a common law lawyer. One. I want one church. There are none. They're all failures. That's it. That's the answer. Yeah. Failure. Sorry. We gave up all this knowledge, recognizing that the church was supposed to be the school. We turned Satan in charge of the schools to build his slave army. The church went to helping Satan, right? Because when I say Satan, I say the government, because that's the necessary beast. All right? Because it's all about social society. So now we have churches that have sold themselves to power and money through 501c3s. We have pulpit preaching churches that are not educational facilities, that are not educational institutions, where some preacher gets up there saying, I know the Bible because I went to divinity school and they told me and I'm in charge. And then you ask them a question, they tell you you're wrong. Well, why am I wrong? They won't answer your questions. Well, this is supposed to be about discourse. But if you look through the Protestant Reformation and you start reading books like Cross and Crown, right? You actually find out that there was no physical church in the Protestants. They had no physical church because the whole damn society was a giant church. And it says in there, the children had the continence of men, which means they were educated, they were armed, they had this constitutional value of right and wrong. And that when you do wrong, you crap on your soul. You're going to have to pay the debt. And the more you do wrong, the more out of alignment you are with the laws of nature. And this is where we get into science. Science came from churches. Who do you think, who had the time in the 1400s, 1300s to sit around and think about thought? Who had the time to do science experiments? Why did Satan come?
Monks. Yeah,
they were the monks. These were the guys that were the alchemists. They were the ones that were studying the deepest concepts of thought. Martin Luther and tons of them. Muhammad, 400 AD, right? He writes the Quran. Have you ever read the Quran?
I have, yeah.
I've read it like 4 times. I love the Quran. There's a lot of things in the Quran that really have some very divine conceptual thoughts and ideas that are valuable. Okay. And they're like, well, the Muslims, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is about individual rights. They have a right, but then they've been fanaticized. There are parts of them, not all of them. I lived in Iraq, right? We had Iraqis that lived in my house. They were really nice people. They didn't care. The majority of people don't want to go out and fight. Majority of people they just want to do their thing and raise their children and do their stuff. They don't want to be in this middle of this crap. There's probably people in Iraq right now that don't even know that the United States actually invaded Iraq.
Oh, I'm sure.
To this day.
Yeah.
To this
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Okay. So because they don't care.
Mhm.
It's not part of them. And then they're like, well, the Muslims are taking over America. No, this was a nation of all people. They're allowed to have those beliefs. What they're not allowed to do is crap on individual rights. Well, what about Sharia law? No. Individual rights. Remember, this is the foundation. These rights are individual. That means the person who's getting crapped on has a right to justice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the failure, right? And then they say, well, the Islam is this, Islam's that, Islam's this. Number one, it has to come from somewhere divine, because there's no way you can move that many people. You cannot move that many people without these words being somewhere. There is some type of divinity locked into these words, because that many people don't move without that.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So, and then, I mean, the Quran mentions Jesus, mentions the Virgin Mary, mentions Moses, talks about Abraham. I mean, really? Come on, stop it. Okay. But it's been fanaticized by stupid people who came up with some concept of stupid, and then they went and fanaticized it and then turned it. And it's not like the United States has done just such a great job in international community relations. I mean, we basically go shit on everything. So, so we're not exactly helping the situation at all. So then you take that and it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. Didn't the Catholic Church in the 1200s literally send people out in the Crusades to murder everyone who didn't bend a knee to the Pope? What's the difference between that and the fanaticized part of Islam right now? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. So back to our original question with emancipation. Do you think without education, is it just what do you think? I mean, could any person, if somebody, can you go to the U.S. courts of federal claims in Washington, D.C.?
Inherently, the way that they're,
I mean, because you have no force. Again, we have no, without the knowledge of the people, without people in numbers doing this, there's no force.
Right. Well, we're going to find out. I have a case right now in Charlotte County that I'm trying to get emancipated. Of course, the Attorney General of the state of Florida came back with some stupid crap about trying to squash my case. Okay. Saying that it's equity and there's a money and all this crap. And I'm like, and asking the court for stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't ask the court. I asked the people. And then she's saying, it actually is comical. I haven't broke it all down yet, but it is comical because either she's a liar or she's stupid. All right. And she's going to tell you that she knows the law. She doesn't know the law. She knows legalese. Those aren't law schools. They're legalese schools. There are no law schools because law schools were churches. So she even deluded herself into believing she knows the law. Yeah. And which is just fantabulous. Anyways, we'll see where this case goes. But in reality, I wrote the case at common law. It is Robert Louis Kraft versus the people of Charlotte County. And then she put herself in limited representation. And the problem is she's saying that because I served the Attorney General and I served the state's attorney. Well, the Attorney General is elected by the people. The state's attorney is elected by the people. And in her response, she talks about how she's like, am I suing Charlotte County government? Am I suing like she's trying to, it's almost like she's trying to lead it away from the fact she is an elected public officer and agent, which makes her the representative of the people. Because she was elected. And she's trying everything she can to get away from that responsibility. And I'm like, is this real? or is she stupid? Because one or the other. She knows what she's doing, and it's
I
real.
think she knows what she's doing. I
don't
do.
know. Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out. So we're gonna find out if both of them are stupid or they're real. Because what they're gonna do is they're gonna pull this game, and then it's gonna be dereliction of duty, and then I'm gonna go for breach of trust at the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, and I'm gonna drag them in there for breaching their duty, dereliction of duty. You literally swore an oath. You literally were elected to be the representative. You literally need to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you don't want to fulfill your oath. You just want to do whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out how that plays out. Essentially, you should be able to do it at a county court, at common law, at law. We'll see where this one ends. And then obviously, if I have to head to the United States Court of Federal Claims to be emancipated, I will head there. Emancipating me at law makes me the capital P, right? Because remember the whole orphanage part. So it makes you the capital P with all your rights at law. So therefore, now you're not an orphan anymore. You're not subject to all their statutes and all their policies and all their procedures. All right. Nobody is emancipated. Well, they are. I would venture to say that when you become a politician, they're emancipating them because that's the only way they could hold office. So they have rights because they're being put up by the propaganda party, right? The singular party, the Republican Democrat Party. So
interesting. That's an interesting place to take the conversation. So if any and all politicians need to be emancipated in order to hold an elected office, how does that process work, and why can't any common citizen, any citizen do the same thing?
Well, they can, but you would have to go to. So the best we can track down, based on research, is the Office of the Special Executive is the attorneys that are actually emancipating our politicians so that they can actually hold office. They're also accessing their trust system, and then they're using the trust system to bribe them with their own money because they're stupid. And that's how they control them. And this is all just a facade. It's all just a game that's being played out. And we're sitting here watching.
Are you sure they're stupid, or is there willful intent involved here?
Somebody knows.
How much of it?
But I'm gonna tell you the majority of the politicians don't know
that they're emancipated.
Yeah, they don't know that. They don't even know what emancipation means. The common law to them is a dead law that doesn't exist. And they're just dumb, man. We're just dumb. We're dumb. Listen, and I'm the one calling them dumb. But now let's analyze this for a second. And I want to say this again. While I'm saying we're dumb, what I'm saying is we're ignorant. The only difference between me and them is that I'm looking for the answers. They're not looking for anything. They're just taking their own money as bribes. I don't know what's worse, right? So not only that, again, we go back to Plato. To get into the academy, you had to know the 13 elements of Euclid. I have been studying Nicomachean arithmetic for a year and a half. I still don't have it down, so I cannot get into the 13 elements. Therefore, I am stupid because I could not even get into Plato's academy. I'm too dumb. So when we measure dumb, we have to measure it on something. If I can't even get through the front door of Plato's academy, I'm stupid too. I just accept that I'm stupid and I have to keep working at it. They think they're smart and they're dumb.
I mean, there's more to that than there's more than that than what you just said, right? I mean, just because you don't understand Nicomachean ethics, right? Or Nicomachean what? Excuse me, was it Nicomachean ethics or
Nicomachean of Garza?
Okay.
Nicomachean. Yeah, you're talking about Aristotle.
Oh, yeah, so of Aristotle. Yeah, you're talking about someone else.
Ethics, and
it comes down to lack of knowledge and ignorance and lack of knowledge.
It always comes back to the same thing. It always comes back to the same thing. And when you're talking about Nicomachean ethics, really, and this goes back to the teachings of Jesus Christ, where he said, like, you don't have to be the most intelligent if you're just a good person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can just be a good person. And if you're more intelligent than them, don't beat them up. Don't punish them for their lack of intelligence. Let them be, as long as they are good in heart and soul. Okay.
But the law is for everyone else. That's
well, remember, the law is only for redress of grievance.
Yeah.
If we didn't have dumb walking the earth, we wouldn't need a law. It's dumb walking the earth that requires law. So, because if everybody was reasonable and everyone was knowledgeable and everyone was wise, this would be utopia. Okay. And in utopia, everyone would just do their thing.
And
we wouldn't be destroying the earth either.
This comes back to educate people en masse, right? So how do we do that? How do we get these videos to go viral? Right? I mean, how do we get 77,000 people, the 77,000 people the TikTok video to watch this? That's what we need. That's what needs to happen. This isn't just in the United States. I mean, this needs to be a global movement.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that in time it will go that direction. I think that it's going to require, and again, this is where I came back to, I'm not here to save everybody. In fact, the Republic, the Assembly of the Republic, this is to help people get emancipated. This is to help people get back to those core values ecclesiastically. Not everybody's staying.
Yeah.
And if you come in and you don't know how to act, you're going to be educated. And if you can't act, you're going to be extricated. You're not putting up with it no more. Go back to be food. Okay. This is for people who have their values, but understand that they don't know everything and they don't want to be tortured anymore. And that's really what this is about. And I think that if you build it, they will come. And I think they're going to come, because I don't think there's anything like this anywhere in the world right now. I don't think there's a model like this anywhere in the world.
I don't think there is either.
So it's because it's going back to the core premise of law, and it's going back to create a society of law, to practice law in all ways and exercise those rights as they are written, and actually become not just know the right, not just to be able to say it, but act on it and do it and know it, and know when you're at war with someone, or someone's at war with themselves, and you're the target for the day. You're the target for that 5 minutes, because that's about their attention span is 5 minutes. So, and that's really what this is about. And that's what I'm trying to build here. And I'm trying to do it the right way, so I can lay the groundwork so that the people who come behind me can see, yes, you have to have this Constitution here. This is why, because you are acting at law. And these documents are the establishment of law. And so you practice that and you do it, and then it becomes comfortable. And then when it becomes comfortable, you now have the ability. You are now developing a skill that you never had. And for the people that don't, the people that don't want to be it, their job is just to facilitate the people that do. That's all you got to do. Because really, until we create a philosopher, a real philosopher, not one that, I'm, you and I are probably more philosophically sound than probably anybody I've met. But until we create a real philosopher, a Socrates, an Aristotle, a Jesus, we get our philosopher king, which is what the Republic was about, philosopher king, we're not gonna be able to explore the real mysteries of this place.
That may just be an aspiration, though, too, right? That's something to pursue, right? Do you think that is something that can be realized? having a philosopher king who's Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Jesus, Buddha all rolled into one. I don't know if that is realistic, or nor was that the plan all along. If there is a plan here, which I think there is,
Well, I
but
think that
I
was the
think
plan,
it's what's I believe there is too,
and
I
I
believe
believe
it's
that is the
written.
plan.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
I
it's
believe
written
that
in the
is the
Akashic
plan.
records.
And
It's written in the Akashic records. I believe that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe that. But we're gonna have to develop that person.
Yeah.
They're not just gonna send that person to us. It's just the the system won't just send us
Mhm.
that person, because here's what we'll do to it. We'll kill it.
We'll kill him. The mob will kill him
That's
or her.
exactly what'll happen.
Yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
to create an environment where
Yeah.
that person can survive
Mm-hmm.
without being murdered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people a day tell me that I need to, they're like, we're gonna have to start. I literally got told today, we're gonna start putting you in safe houses.
Yeah. They told you
You
that?
better
Yeah.
wear body armor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just laugh. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is death. There's no way this is life. This place sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but especially when that TikTok went off 78,000 views, it's probably over 79 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and I'm like, whatever. But in reality, it's, we have to build a place for him to come back to. He's not going to come back and get murdered again. He already did that one.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to build the place for him to come back and not be murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, what would you do? What would they do? Even if they didn't murder him, what would they do if Jesus walked the earth right now?
Now they laugh at him. They'd laugh and mock and ridicule him. They do exactly what they did when he did 2,000 years ago. That's what they do to
He'd
people.
be homeless.
Yeah. Yep.
He'd be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the really smart people are.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones that refuse to comply with the system. They won't do it. Not all of them. Not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them
Yeah.
are highly intelligent.
They are. No doubt about it. It's indisputable.
So, yeah. So they're homeless. Want to go talk to someone really smart? Go talk to those guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart because they're looking at this thing for real.
Mm-hmm.
They see it for what it is, and they do not comply with it.
Yeah.
So they're either prisoners or they're homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just get tortured by the retards. And I don't mean retard as in someone who has a physical disability. I mean retard as in the people who think they're smart, that are actually stupid, that punish people who are weaker than them.
Yeah.
So, and so we haven't changed.
Mm-hmm.
We have not changed.
No, we haven't. We haven't. No.
So therefore, we are barbarians wandering around trying not to kill each other.
We're barbarians with very nice toys. With advanced toys.
Yeah, it was funny. In the movie Powder, another thing Jeff Goldblum said was our technology has outgrown our humanity.
Yes, it has. That movie came out in 1995, I think.
And I went,
yeah,
that is such a valuable statement. It really is. It really has a resonance. So, you got stuff like, that. And it's like, and people are sitting around going, I'm waiting for Jesus to come back and save me. He already did. Now it's your job. He told you what to do. You're not listening. Do it or don't.
Yeah.
Shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
You're going to be a part of bringing forth the kingdom, or you're going to be a part of making sure that the kingdom never comes. Pick one. It's a decision.
Yeah.
And your actions will prove. You don't have to say anything. Keep your mouth shut and do.
Yeah.
So, but remember, and I said this before, you're not going to wipe out evil. You can't wipe out evil. It will
always exist.
Because children are born with no knowledge. The only way to wipe out evil is to stop reproducing children. It's not going to happen. Okay. And that's another thing. You want to talk about did we get through the emancipation part? I think we did, right?
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's fun. I was reading this book, Essentials on Scalia, right?
I mean, it can be done, but right now the environment is not conducive for it because we just don't have the numbers with people that are educated on what common law is. So
Right.
it might be, yeah, sure, it may be possible, but yeah,
It may be possible at the United States Court of Federal Claims. I don't know if they're going to let you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So either you become a politician who does it,
Mm-hmm.
or and you get it done that way, or you just don't get it done. So the best option you can have is to access your system and get into the community that has figured out how the game works, and
Mhm.
have that community be able to do it. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to build into the Republic is that system also, that emancipation concept within the Republic itself. So and if I do it right, the way that I've structured it in my brain, if I do it right, we will get those benefits.
Mhm.
You will have those benefits. You won't be emancipated, but you'll have access to those benefits.
Mhm.
So and we'll just have to see how that goes. And really, we're too stupid to have rights right now. We're just not smart enough. I mean, there's too many people that we have that just want to see the world burn.
Mhm.
And that's a problem. And that's and I can't say they're wrong, because they've been tortured for so long
Mhm.
that they're angry, and they don't realize that they played a part in that situation too. And that doesn't mean they don't have the right to justice,
Mhm.
but they don't have a right to burn the earth, to scorch the earth either.
Well, who's scorching this earth, though? I mean, the governments of the world are scorching the earth. I mean, it's the existing power structure that's making every last play to grasp for every last ounce of power that it can have, and then some. It's the existing power structure that is just burning itself out right now. I mean,
Yes.
right, Bob? I mean, the people are complicit because they went along with it, and most specifically in March of 2020, when the world said that we're going to lock down society to save society, and people said, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea." If you're complicit in that, you're complicit with evil. But ultimately, I mean, what's behind that is it's the existing power structure has made its last. I mean, evil has made its biggest power grab in human history, or maybe in known human history, and it's going to burn itself out.
Yes. Yeah, that's
And it
exactly what's
needs
going
to
to happen.
the existing power structure needs to crumble. It's
Yeah.
unworthy.
Yep.
It's just disgusting. It's
Right.
filthy, and it doesn't deserve to survive.
Yeah, and really, when we stop, I read this quote, and I didn't really understand it as much until recently, where it said the only thing that good needs to do to triumph over evil is to do nothing.
Or that's what. Yeah, in order for evil to triumph over good, just good has to do nothing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But in reality, so what does good do to beat the system? Well, let's take the political parties, for instance. You are fighting a system that is a facade.
Mm-hmm.
Republican or Democrat, don't care
Mhm.
which one, or whatever other political party you've come up with. John
Mhm.
Adams said, my grandfather said, political parties would be the death of this nation. Well, here we are at the death of the nation. It's already dead. It died in 1850.
Mhm.
Okay. So if that's true, your participation in these parties, that's all one party,
Mhm.
is feeding the beast.
Mhm.
Walk away.
Yes. Say no. The
Walk
power
away.
and this system, Bob. I mean, they have it in France, they have it in Canada, Great
Of
Britain,
course.
Australia,
Of course.
all over the world, right? I mean, it's just
Right.
they may
Right.
name their parties a little. I mean, they might have different names for the parties, but the same
Right.
system has been
It's the same.
implanted the
That's right.
entire globe over.
That's right.
Globe over. So what do? Is you say no, non-compliance. We're not going to play along. And I've been trying to tell people this my entire life, but at a much higher pitch and frequency since March of 2020, is that when you come nose to nose with evil, you have to say no. You back down. If you know something is wrong, when the governments of the world are telling you to crawl on your belly and you know it's wrong, you stand up and you say no, because now if you don't say no, well, here we are right now. That was March of 2020.
Right.
You know, here we are September of 2022, and look at the world that has transpired in the over 2.5 years. I mean,
Yeah,
you say no. When you know it's wrong, you have to stand up to it.
that's right. And you can't
Yeah, that
use
takes
words
a
like
ton of courage.
we have to get them elected at all costs. I
Yeah.
actually sat in a meeting at a political party. I was there as a observer. I was asked to go. And I have been consulting with a group recently. Really, they want me to become their parliamentarian because I walk independent and I only care about the rules. And so they asked me to come to this meeting. I watched this meeting go down. It doesn't matter what political party you're talking about. And they were standing up, executing Robert's Rules of Order, right? Procedure, Section 72. They wanted a trial. They wanted to put a trial in that's in Robert's Rules of Order because there were questions that need to be asked and they wanted to create rules. And the president or the chairman told them that that's not even, you can't even do that. That's not even a rule. Blew him off. I'm like, and they had a guy who's a county commissioner in Charlotte County who's their parliamentarian. He doesn't know that trial by jury is there. He doesn't know that a political subdivision is allowed to have its own judicial procedure that the Supreme Court won't even intervene with. It's written right in Robert's Rules of Order. So how does he not know? He doesn't want to know, and he doesn't know. Okay.
Do you know any former bar attorneys or any retired judges?
I do know a former bar attorney.
Okay, so
that got so disgusted.
Yeah. So were they taught anything about common law in law school? I mean, no.
No, he actually, he quit. He was a defense attorney, and he just was so disgusted with the system. He's done. And he told me, he said, when I talk to him about stuff, and we don't talk often, we talk every once in a while. The stuff that I talk about, they don't teach him any of this.
Okay.
They don't know any of this. So
I mean, it's compartmentalized. I mean, I think the judges at the top, I mean, this knowledge it exists, and it's in some hermetically sealed antechamber at the top of the pyramid. But I believe that the little peons at the bottom of the pyramid, even within the bar, don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't, but there are people at the top that do. I know they have to.
Well, they might not have put it all together, but they understand enough about the system to know how dangerous using common law is, and ecclesiastical law, right, which is heaven law. So what's interesting, and a friend of mine told me today, in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims in 28 U.S. Code, it actually talks about the three parts of law. It talks about heaven law, talks about territory law, and talks about admiralty law.
Wow.
In the U.S. Code.
Wow.
So that supports what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's there for the record.
So it's in the U.S. Code. So that's it is supported. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that, but do I think that anybody reads that stuff? Nope.
No,
man, we're too busy, and we're just too arrogant. We already think we have an education. Benjamin Franklin said education was supposed to be lifetime. You're supposed to be learning lifetime. And we got people that went to school 30 years ago, went to college. They haven't picked up a book. They haven't done anything in 30 years. They're probably back to 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as educationally. And
I mean, if you convince people that they have the answers, they won't ask the questions. They won't even think that it won't even cross their minds.
That's correct.
And
that's correct. And I think
the arrogance of ignorance.
Yeah, well, ignorance is arrogant. That's why the 2-year-old pounds on the floor on the cereal aisle when mom buys the cereal they don't want. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They may not be 2 on the ground, but they're 2 standing, getting angry.
Yeah.
How dare you tell me no?
Yeah.
Well, what am I, your slave?
Mm-hmm.
I'm your slave, so I can't tell you no. No,
Mm-hmm.
done. No,
Mm-hmm.
and they lose their ever loving mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it is interesting. And what's really interesting is how all of this stuff is really tying together. And it really is, when we get back to it, we're actually getting back to the church.
Yeah.
We're getting back to the assemblies.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting back to, so you got to go church, you got to go common law, and then you got to go equity,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got to go chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a measurement here that really does exist. And we can't see the other parts of it, and we don't know how to exercise it. And I'm just learning how to exercise it. But as far as I've come, I found that I'm the only person that can structurally put it together and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes lonely.
Oh yeah, it is. Well, it's a learned skill. I mean, you're not right. I mean, it's not no one's born knowing this. I mean,
No, this
right.
is you learned. And again, you'd have to read enough about it to see
As
how it ties
opposed to, I
together.
mean, as opposed to Plato's theory of recollection, right? This idea of where do children acquire, or where does the knowledge to make comparisons and to make draw contrasts in the world come from? I mean, with a child, like you take a kid. I mean, the first thing a kid wants to do is it says like, who's older? I mean, is my dad older than my mom? Is my neighbor older than my dad? Who? I mean, in school, I mean, who's bigger, who's shorter, who's fatter, who's skinnier, who's taller, who's this, who's that. I mean, they're always making comparisons, and I mean, maybe
Right.
yeah, I mean, but that's a very sophisticated form of intelligence, making comparisons and contrasts, and no child needs to be taught that because they're born knowing it, right? I mean,
Well,
this is part of where Plato's theory of recollection comes into to help support the idea that the soul is immortal and that it has a residence prior to incarnating on this planet. I guess I'm just using this story
yeah, I
to
agree
draw
with
the
that.
contrast with common laws, that it's not something we're born knowing. We
No,
really have to learn the vocabulary, the
our
definitions of these words,
our
because we're not
soul is
born
born
understanding it,
knowing.
Bob. I'm sorry, we're not
Our
born understanding it.
No, our
Yeah.
soul knows the difference between right, good, and evil,
Sure.
right? But law or exercising the law is a skill.
Yes.
And it's no different than buying a new car, right? You buy a new car that's got a different type of remote. Well, then you take that car and you have to learn the remote buttons, right? And it takes a period of time, and then eventually you get it. And then when you buy another car, you got a different type of remote, right? This is the same thing. For most people that want to be free, and for most people that want liberty, and for most people that want to have their rights, they're not going to do what needs to be done
Yeah.
to have that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to learn the skills. They are not going to do what needs to be done to get emancipated. They are not going to do what needs to be done to defend themselves. And in reality, if they did get emancipated, they would have everything stolen from them anyways because they don't know how to defend themselves.
Yeah.
So that would be a train wreck too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why 85% of people who win the lottery end up broke.
Mm-hmm.
They end up broke because they were broke before. They were stupid before, and then they got stupid with money, and then stupid lost all the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens
Mm-hmm.
because we live in a place of predators, and we have to know good and evil. We have to know when we are at harmony with someone, and we have to know when we are at war.
Yes.
And there is no difference. You are in harmony or you are at war. And you better learn how the war goes. You better learn the weapons. You better learn because evil is coming. And if you think you're going to protect your kids, evil will get them. It'll get them because you're not teaching them that evil's going to knock on their door, that the devil comes with a handshake and a smile to start. And then once he's got you, if you try to defy him, he'll kill you, destroy you. But if he leaves you alone, he'll just consume you in his own time.
Yeah.
So you either teach your children that they're going to face evil, and you can't protect them because you don't even know what evil's going to, because evil is ignorance, right? So you're going to protect your kid, right? You're going to helicopter your kid. You're not going to teach it to defend itself by physical. You're not going to teach it to defend itself by mind. You're not going to teach it because you don't even know how to do it. Okay. Because you've been getting destroyed your whole life, getting hammered, okay, by the system. So you're not going to teach your kid to know good and evil. And then what's going to happen? Some little punk or some little chick's going to come along with their pretty little whatever and seduce them and enslave them. And then they're going to be slaves to the wife or the husband or the boss. How are you going to protect them from them? Or some out of control deputy or some judge that's just tyrannical beast sitting on a bench.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to protect them from that?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
Can't protect them. You want to protect them? You got to teach them to know evil.
Yeah.
You got to teach them to recognize when people are lying to them, when people are manipulating them, when people are trying to subjugate them, people are trying to limit their speech. I don't want you to talk about that. What am I, your slave? I'll talk about whatever I want. You don't tell me what to talk about. That's the problem we had. Remember that problem?
Yeah.
In the meeting,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where it was,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say who.
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah, yeah.
You know, are you gonna attack DeShantis? Are you gonna attack Flynn? Well, in my world, nobody's above reproach, not even myself.
Yeah.
Damn right I will.
Yeah.
You're damn right I'm gonna attack them. You're either doing it right or you're doing it wrong. This is daytime and nighttime, and that's the end of it. And they're like, and ultimately it was fear that drove that question.
What I was going to say too is, I mean, our biggest enemy here is fear, you know, because
Right.
that's going to stop people from the get-go.
And that's exactly it. And I'm like,
just scared.
Who puts General Flynn above reproach? Who puts Ron DeSantis above reproach? Not me. I bow to no man.
Yeah.
I don't bow to man, and I don't ask man to bow to me. I don't want you to bow to me. I don't need it. I already know who I am. I don't need any slaves. I'm the guy that wants to walk around the woods and be left alone. But of course, this thing's so screwed up, I can't even do that.
No one's likewise.
So, you know, if we don't learn to see good and evil, then we are not prepared.
And what we're talking about is, I mean, a lot of people they shy away from criticizing DeSantis or anybody, any person that has power, because they automatically bestow upon them authority, you know, and they don't know the difference between merit and authority. And really, and ultimately, the only authority needs to be the law, and the law is the only reason the law has authority is because it has merit, because the people agreed upon its merit. And once the people disagree upon its merit, well, then they have the right to change it.
And that's really it.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to is, and right now I believe, you know, as I said, you know, with the Republic and our United Republic, this is about, I believe that the people that are in these political parties are seeing the despotism, they're seeing the tyranny, they're seeing the game,
and they're drunk on it. They're getting drunk on it, Bob.
Yeah, but the people,
Right.
they are the ones with authority.
Yeah.
Right. Have it. And I'm sitting here saying, you know what, we need to go back to the way we did it. And that's what I'm building in this, is I'm building the platform of, when it becomes political, you in your voting district will put forth your delegate out of your assembly. You will put forth who you want to represent your voting district. You will put that person forward, and then they will go to the county. And then out of the county deliberation, that is who will go on the ballot. That is who the assembly will elect, because they weren't above reproach. They were put forward by the people at the bottom, because they couldn't have got to that level unless they were put forward. So no well, this is the candidate we gave you. You pick the best of the worst, because that's what we're doing now. We're picking the best of the worst. What we're really picking is the most compliant to keep their system running.
And it's rebuilt. It's a complete rebuilding of society, because the foundation of society, which is the law, which is common law, has been systematically stolen from the people.
Well,
and that's
now
one
it's
other
been
conversation, how
right,
it's been stolen.
and the
But
people
this,
are
this is, yeah.
yes, and the people that know about it are coming back to say I want it, and it's being purposely withheld from them,
Yeah.
purposely restricted by
Yeah.
people who swore an oath to common law by
Mhm.
swearing an oath to the Constitution. Because when you swore an oath to the Constitution, you swore an oath to common law. So, and that's where it is. So,
And the only reason they're able to get away with it is because of general ignorance. That's why. Plain and
well,
simple.
yeah, and because people don't know. Yeah, I mean,
Well, they don't know.
listen,
They just don't know the law. They don't.
but this is always about general ignorance.
Yeah.
And that's literally what this comes down to.
Yeah.
Is our ignorance is being used against us.
Mm-hmm.
We are too ignorant to actually do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are trying to look at people who are keeping us at odds with each other
Mm-hmm.
as they're going to help us. When have they ever helped us?
Never.
When has a politician ever helped the person in a county at the bottom?
Never. Yeah.
Then why judge them on their actions?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When has I mean, right now, DeSantis has the ability to bring back the Florida Assembly that was disbanded in 1879. I wrote a paper on this when I was at Liberty University. Okay. In 1879, the Florida Assembly was disbanded, subject to recall by the governor. Why has DeSantis not brought back the assembly? He has been served papers requesting it to be brought back.
Mm-hmm.
He has refused. Why? Because that would hold him accountable, and it would hold the rest of them accountable.
Yeah.
Is he the best of the worst? Yep, he's the best of the worst. Does he suck? Yep, he sucks. Because the people are still suffering. I rest.
I hear you. Well, that may be a good place to call it a day then.
I agree.
I agree too.
I agree, man.
And
So
with the hurricane coming this week, I think we might have a lot of time in our
Yeah.
homes. So let's pick this up. Let's pick up the conversation towards the middle of the week, Bob.
I agree.
All right.
I'll talk to
Excellent.
you soon.
Excellent. You have a great evening.
For everybody who's watching, please come to Our United Republic and subscribe. And we're going to be posting these videos. We're going to be doing more stuff. And as the constitutions get written, hopefully, we'll be able to bring back our assemblies and head down the road of ecclesiastical law and common law.
All right.
All right.
Excellent.
God bless.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll see you.
Take care.
Take care.